Alright, hello. This tutorial will go into Flyguyless as well as its different endings and backups. Due to its massive 2-second time save over the Flyguy strat, top 16 runners will opt for this strat, as well as a couple 70 runners and 120 runners. The typical Flyguyless you'll see from 16 runners will have the kickless ending, as it's the fastest. Depending on the camera and positioning, you might have to compensate with different inputs or ending movement. In this example, I'll be doing the Mario Cam beginning. This makes it so that I can hold up for a majority of the strat. As soon as I've loaded into the level, I'll be going into Mario Cam C down and hold up and while buffering A. Where you dive onto the sand dune matters, as it does affect the angle of your slide kick you take. You generally want to be where I am on the sand dune, basically like pretty close to the center, not too far left, not too far right. If you're a little farther left, then when diving onto the sand dune, you have to make that B input a lot sooner, and if you do that, then you have a really sharp angle facing to the right when you slide kick. After you dive down onto the dune, you want to roll out as soon as you touch that quicksand hexagon, and then afterward you want to do your slide kick. Now, it's very important to note that the input for this slide kick is frame perfect, and it has to be frame perfect because it'll preserve all your speed. This will be a matter of just developing a feel for that timing for the input and positioning and all that. Now, with the angle I took from the sand, I'll be, going a little to the right, but it's okay because that's generally how all the other runners go for it as well. You'll notice I'll be veering a little to the left of up right before I go into the slide kick. Then I'll be slide kicking. As I'm landing from the slide kick's rollout, I'll go further left while running to adjust for the pillar climbing. Now, a bit before the sand turns into quicksand again, I dive onto the ground. On the same frame that I roll out, I'll briefly exit Mario Cam and switch to holding right. I press C right on the same frame that I'm fully in my right notch. And after that, a frame after walking on the pillar, I'll go into Mario Cam C down again. As I touch the second to last tile on this pillar, I'll switch from holding right to holding up for the long jump. Seeing as you want to hit the bird as late as possible, you want to jump off the very edge of this pillar. In this example, I'll get a 750 bird touch. Anywhere between here and 770, I generally find is the golden spot for bird touches. The angle I got here for the long jump is pretty good, so I'm just going to continue holding up. As I'm about to land, I hold up and then a little to the left. And then I do a quick jump dive as soon as I touch the side of the pyramid, and then I get onto that flat surface. You can do a Z buffer here and then do a first frame jump dive, which preserves more of your speed, but I prefer not doing that because I get to adjust a little by going a little to the left when I'm on the side of the pyramid. And in a majority of the cases, with the camera angle you get here, it's better to not be doing that frame perfect jump dive with the Z buffer. In some cases, you may have an angle that's just barely not straight enough to walk on the pyramid and you'll slide. When this happens, you can either land on the tox box path and then walk around to the star, or you can go for a cooler backup that involves a first C off the very side of the tox box path. It's going to be a lot more precise, but it can look pretty cool if you nail it.
That's what happens when you have the wrong camera angle.
In other cases, you may be too low after the long jump that you won't grab the ledge. In this case, you can go for another backup by wall kicking and ground pounding immediately after. This stalls you so that you're able to climb back to the pyramid and then continue the rest of the star. And after you roll out onto the flat surface, you want to do a speed kick and then aim on the area where the pyramid is like a slope and then flat ground. I'll just pop up a picture. You get the general idea. You want to aim toward that area. Now, once you're already sliding down on the other end of the pyramid, if you're really looking to save some frames, to get a good time on this star, then you pretty much just want to jump off the end of the pyramid slope as low as possible and grab the star as low as possible. Wouldn't recommend this too much during runs because you might risk death, but really want that fast time, that's a strat. Now that the kickless ending has been covered, I'll be going over the other endings. Now, seeing as our first example we saw was labeled kickless, that implies that there are kickful endings, which is true. Depending on your angle with a specific camera for the kick endings, you'll either end up doing 3 or 2 kicks. The less, the faster. Now, if you're going to be maining the kick endings, then you probably want to be doing this specific camera for it that I used to do. You'll notice in this example that I'll be doing a different beginning camera, where I hold up left to get to the sand dune. Typically on OEM this will be better. If you're on Hori, it might work, but you know, the Horis are kind of inconsistent and weird. And I should note that even this can vary on OEM, but I haven't looked too far into it, but I imagine it probably won't vary that much. The execution for getting to the pillar, regardless of your beginning inputs, is the exact same. Though after you roll out, you want to enter Mario Cam and hold upright instead. When reaching the second to last tile on the pillar again, you want to switch from holding upright to up left and press C right a couple times before hitting klepto. If you have a good angle when trying to land on the side of the pyramid, then the C rights will, you know, make you turn around and you're able to hold up for a majority of the ending. I think I'd go for a couple more inputs after I hit the bird, and like generally just like, and especially on Hori, it's pretty good to just be holding up for an angle. Pretty comfy. There's also the one kick ending, but I find the inputs to be pretty quick and tricky, and if you're just trying to shave time save with the kick endings, you may as well just go for kickless. But I mean, there's, you know, this example of the one kick ending.
That's good.
Now, in terms of these backups, if you do miss the side kick, or you know you will from your angle, you have two options. Either go for the pyramid star or continue the star with the fly guy. If you go for the pyramid star, you can lose anywhere between 1 to 2 seconds. If you continue the star, then you lose around 2.5.
Here we go!
Now, I will clarify that these times are not the most accurate, but it gives you a general idea. You can mess around with it and make your own conclusions. So yeah, I hope you're able to get something out of this tutorial. And make sure to check the description or comments if I leave any addendums, you know, any notes, in case I missed a bit in this tutorial, and so on.